All right, everybody. Let us know if you guys can hear us, see us, all of that fun stuff, okay? So
Hearing and seeing is so much fun.
I know. So what I would like to preface with is that my voice really hurts. Like, it doesn't, okay, I shouldn't say it hurts because if it hurt, like, I wouldn't continue, but it is very, like, sandpaper texture consistency just because, like, I did Shadow's House today, like, our Shadow's House discussion today, you know, we had to do this, and then we did IQ yesterday as well, so it's just been kind of a packed weekend, and, like, my throat is like, why did you do this to me, man?
We're not doing enough, like, vocal exercises before?
Exactly. I mean, not even that. I mean, I did. Like, I do a vocal exercise every time before, like, we get ready and, like, start recording and stuff, but, like, it's been a lot of screaming the past couple days, because we did Shadow's House, the reaction yesterday, or I did. Then we did IQ 11, the reaction yesterday. Then we did the 12 reaction today, and now we're doing the live stream, but I also did the Shadow's House discussion today, so it was just a lot. You know what I mean? We've been recording a lot the past couple. And then
you yelled at me and Arnold.
Yesterday we did anti-hauls, remember?
That's true, yeah.
So yeah, so
a lot
I'm
of yelling in those.
I'm sort of dying a little bit, but it's like...
And you keep coughing?
We have no choice. It needs to be now. There is no... And next week is not an option. I have school tomorrow until 5 o'clock. Like, there is no other day. Like, it needs to be now. There is no other day that we can talk about this. So, yeah, it do be like that sometimes. But
you were coughing into your choking on your Chinese food earlier today.
Yeah, it was not hidden. So, okay, so before we get into it though, the reactions aren't up yet, but they will be up on Patreon. Would recommend, you know, checking the reactions out on Patreon, especially because, you know, I'm dying to do that. I almost died trying to do them, so, Patreon, I think that's basically it, though. We are gonna do the Fox and Neo stream probably next week, or, like, maybe a week after, give it a minute. I just wanted to make sure that Shadow's House and Ice Queendom were kind of done, because it has kind of been a lot, especially, you know, with my precarious school schedule at the moment, but we are gonna do a little bit of 12, and then we're going to do, also, I hope that you guys are okay hearing us wise, we're gonna do a little bit of 12, then we have, some stuff, we're gonna do a little bit of 11. Of 11.
11's the one where shit actually happens,
yeah.
Where, like, the culmination of the whole show.
Basically,
but 12 was, like, all fluff, so that's, of course, what you pay attention to.
The fluff, though, I want to talk about the fluff just a little bit. Like, I don't know how many, we won't go through, like, literally every single screenshot that I collected, but, like, I was screenshotting and I was like, but this is nice. I need to screenshot this. Like a hoarder, you know?
I can't give this away.
Exactly. But let's talk about this part first, obviously. So we're starting with episode 11, just so everyone's clear on that front.
Everything's going poorly.
Yeah, and so I took some screenshots of Yang because she's stunning and beautiful, and
gorgeous.
Like, you know, we have no choice
and
but to stand,
And also the
right?
little babies that decided they don't want to be cute, they want power.
Yeah, I know, I love that. And so
wait, go back for a moment?
Yeah.
One of them doesn't have a...
No, I think she does.
Oh, she does.
It's
Okay.
really blurry.
Well, then where did Pura get hers?
I don't know. Pura just like
did one of the baby Weisses die and she picked it off of a fallen comrade?
Hunter, that's not nice. Of course they're fine. But yeah, I really like this scene of John trying to pick it up but failing, but then the little Weiss is helping. Like, I thought that was sweet. Because I guess the idea is like, you know, it's what, like, with the help of like Weiss and stuff, she can defeat her father like properly. Like, it always had to be Weiss helping while Jean actually lifted the sword. You know, that sort of type of metaphor, right?
Also, it was like the defeat was kind of anticlimactic because all it had to do was touch it and then he died.
Well, no, they cut him after.
Oh yeah,
they cut him open afterwards.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, this fight, I thought this was a lot better than last week. You know, in terms of actually getting a fight, we didn't just get building shots, right?
It does look like she's wearing underwear, like especially in that shot, it becomes more obvious. But
yeah, I mean, some of the animation was kind of weird. Like, Weiss has a bit of a strange, like, facial expression going on.
It's her eyes. Her eyes don't look as round as, like, she has, like,
in terms of actually, like, in terms of actually fighting this time, I thought it was really good to see them actually fight. I think that their conversation was really interesting as well.
So
like,
do you now trust me when I said that, like, oh, like, the fighty's gonna happen next time?
I mean, I always knew that it was going to, but I didn't think that ever excused it from not happening last week. Like, that was just sort of, like, my opinion in terms of, like, okay, like, yeah, Hunter, you're probably right, But at the same time, I still wanted it in last episode too. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't make it any better, I guess, that it wasn't in last episode still. But I am glad to have seen it. I do like this conversation between them. And what's interesting is it's sort of like Weiss is going through her mentality so hard that it's like when you're dreaming. I've had this a couple times where you're dreaming and you realize it's a dream, so you wake up. Yes. Like, suddenly you're just like, wait a minute, I'm not in elementary school anymore. Like, and you become self-aware. So I think that that's basically what happened, is through, like, being able to talk to Blake about, like, her ideology, I guess, if you want to call it that. Like, she realized, like, oh, wait a minute, like, I'm not a dictator. I wanted to go to Beacon to help improve the company, right? And so then she just remembered that, like, she's actually Weiss.
Every once in a while, we have to remind ourselves we are indeed not a dictator.
But you know what I mean, right? And so I thought that that was interesting, is that by talking to Blake, she actually started to remember her real life. And that's when she realized that this was a dream, right? And I love that. The return Blake to me, like, the monochrome was very strong in the last 2 episodes. Yes. But also, okay, so this is random. We'll talk about this later, but I think that this show made me, like, low-key start shipping, like, White Rose again. Like, not that I never shipped White Rose, but, like, I didn't hard ship White Rose. And I also, like, I'm not, like, the biggest Bumblebee shipper. Like, I think in our tier list, like, White Rose and Bumblebee were both in the like category for me, not for Hunter. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, they were my OTP, but, like, the last 2 episodes, especially, like, I was like, this is some good, like, monochrome, like, Weiss and RWBY Bumblebee content. We'll get to that. It's mostly in the fluff episode, like, the finale,
fluff episode, right?
That we'll talk about. That was, like, peak content.
Cavity-inducing sweet.
Yeah, and I thought that was really sweet. And I really like this. So some people complained about RWBY using her silver eyes. We'll get to that, but I don't really think it's that big of a deal. Oh, I guess it wasn't in that scene. Never mind. So we'll go. Yang's semblance looks so good.
Yes,
like, in this animation style.
She's glowing.
This is why, okay, so here, listen. Okay, you know, I don't know if you guys heard, but, like, some people think that I hate Yang, apparently. In the world, mostly on Twitter, pretty much on Twitter, that I'm a Bumblebee poser and that I also hate Yang, okay?
Which, of all the things to, like, of all the meaningless things to gatekeep in life,
it's a Bumblebee ship. Like, Cal, you're not a real shipper, get away.
Like,
but,
that
okay.
feels strange.
But here's the thing, though, all right? So I'm gonna prove how much I like Yang. I think that Yang should get her own nightmare show after this point. Because, first of all, she's the only one that didn't get a nightmare, right? As opposed to, like, RWBY got infected for, like, 5 minutes, right? Blake got infected, Weiss got infected. Okay.
Mom says it's my term on the chilling, deadly nightmare.
No. Okay, so here's what I think, right? You know what would be perfect? Volume 2 is when that weird Raven dream shit happens. Right? And all the stuff with Raven. And then you have the burning candle where she talks about how she went to go look for Raven, right? Like, that's what she wanted to do, I think. Was it Summer or was it Raven? I think she says to Blake that she was looking for Raven.
Yeah,
specifically, not Summer. Yeah. Or maybe.
Because Summer had
already been dead. I think that she would have known that she was dead and not just missing. So yeah, like, they have that whole conversation in the burning candle, right? Raven comes to save her in volume 2. So what would be perfect, in my opinion, right, is that, like, you know, we get a volume 2 partial recap, like the first, I don't know, couple episodes are just normal volume 2. But then after Yang is saved by Raven, she starts to get, like, the Raven, like, mommy issues of, like, who is my mom and, like, why did she abandon me and whatever.
So instead of RWBY Ice Queendom, it's RWBY mommy issues?
No, not RWBY mommy issues. People have said, like, you know, like, RWBY, like...
RWBY, anxious attachment.
No, like, RWBY, like, you know, Rage of the Dragon, or, like, something like that.
Empty
like,
nest.
I don't know. Empty nest!
Empty nest! Because Raven's a bird, and she left them?
Oh, gosh. But, yeah,
I think RWBY Empty Nest is a great name.
I just want, like, Yang to, like, I want to see, like, I guess, like, Bandit Yang, and, like, Yang, like the nightmare relating to Raven and stuff.
And instead of them, like Yang being the antagonist, Yang is, like, she turns into a little girl in a dream, and she's, like, lost in the woods, and the rest of Team RWBY need to find her in the woods.
Oh, that's so sad!
And it, like, becomes more like an adventure series of them, like, trying to get her than it is, like, them just fighting with her. I think that would be great. Yeah, and
some people made a good point. That, like, post volume 3 is when Yang has, like, her PTSD that would create a nightmare, like Adam. But Blake already had Adam in a nightmare, which doesn't mean that Yang can't, but I think that it would be very interesting, or, like, more effective to actually make it about Raven. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to have it surround Raven-related issues versus Adam-related issues again. Especially because, like, that would also cause a continuity error because all the other girls leave in Volume 4,
Yes.
right? Like, Weiss is taken back home, and they could change it, but they've made a point that, like, the show is canon adjacent and not an alternative reality. So, in the confines of alternative, canon adjacent, in those confines, what would make the most sense is, like, Raven Bandit, story, like RWBY, the Bandit Queen or something, like, something like that. I think that would make the most sense because the problem is nobody wants to touch Volume 4 because all the girls split off. And you could have them all stay, but then they would have to admit that it's not fucking canon adjacent anymore. That's just an AU, right? So I think that what they should do is they should have Ice Queendom, like, sequel, but name it something else, and it should all be about Yang, and then have, like, Empty Nest, and then have it be like Yang and like what if she was a bandit and like went with her mom and what kind of life would that like live and all that sort of thing, and that that could be a thing. You know what I mean?
Or maybe that could be a part of it. Like,
but
they try to find baby Yang, but when they find
Yang, you know what I mean?
When they
like,
find Yang, she's no longer little Yang. She becomes Big Yang, and they have to fight Big Yang at the end.
I mean, that's like Ice Queendom, right? You have baby Weiss, and then you have Big Weiss, so you could do something similar. But also, Baby Weiss
and Big Weiss were different people.
That's what I'm saying.
I imagine this person would be the same person.
You could have Yang lost in the woods, but then you could also have like Yang not lost in the woods.
And they think they have to find Baby Yang, and maybe the person that they think they're fighting is Raven, but it's not Raven, it's Yang the whole time.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. Something crazy. Something like that. So yeah, I would really like a Yang-centric series, especially because, and like, I don't know. I don't think this is a hot take. I think this is a pretty normal take. They don't do a lot with Yang in Volume 1. Like, Yang in Volume 1 is very much a supporting character to everybody else. But in Volume 2 is when we actually get Yang to open up about her own issues and, like, the stuff that she's sort of, like, gone through, especially in Burning Candle. And that's prompted by Blake. But that's when, like, Yang starts to get, like, some juice of her own.
Spicy.
You know what I mean? So, I think that would be perfect if that's what they did for, like, another season of this, if they had it focus on Yang specifically. Especially because, like, I don't know, they made a point to show how fucking cool she was, right? Like, imagine this, like, again, like, you know what I mean? We're only gonna see this one time, like, imagine it would be good. I think that it would be great, and, like, also it's something that, like, the main show's gone into a little bit.
Did she say hoorah when she punched?
I guess so.
That's a JoJo reference.
Is it? Oh, yeah. That's funny. But yeah, like, I just think that it would be great. Especially, too, because it's something the show's gone into a little bit, but it also, I don't know. Like, don't you feel like some Raven-related plot lines have sort of, like, just because, like, she's not around, you know?
I would, like, would this count as Raven Watch? Would I have to pop
I don't know. That's something, I don't know.
The idea. I think RWBY Empty Nest could have, like, a really solid
That's something I've thought about, too, like, in terms of, like, I don't know, just, like, other Yang stuff is, like, I wish that, like, Yang had a stronger reaction to finding out the Hound was a silver-eyed warrior and sort of, like, putting that, like, sleuthing cap on of, like, okay, Summer died. No, not trauma, but, like, Summer died, which means Salem had something to do with it, so we need to, like, you know, go get Salem and figure out what she did to our mom. Like, stronger, like, you know what I mean? A drive to, like, find the truth, I guess?
Yeah.
Like, to an extent. And so I feel like that would, like, I don't know, kind of be interesting in relation to that. I don't understand how this happened, but I really don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't understand how it happened, but I don't give a fuck.
Because it's
I love it anyway.
Because it's a dream, so nothing makes sense. But also, like, she punches through the head
and so I guess it's just in his heart. This is happening, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of, like, this conversation. Also, throw this man back on screen.
I will. Yes, conviction. More conviction. Thank you, chat.
This man is a dilf.
Yeah.
Like, look at this.
I mean, of course he is. We've seen him before,
but, like,
he looks so good.
Claus.
I was gonna use him for the thumbnail, but...
Honestly, before we saw Jacques, this is what I imagine Jacques would look like.
Right,
This is like Jacques. This is who Jacques wishes he could be.
Right. This is if Jacques was a good person.
He just seems so powerful and strong, but very kind and like with a moral code. And
like, little Weiss is so cute, and I love her little dress. Like, it's so adorable. And I love, like, the castle metaphor. Like, you gotta build a castle in here,
that
like, in your heart. Right? And I love that. And
it's not about protecting, it's not aggrandizing yourself, it's about, like, service for others.
But, you know what? Like,
so I like him. I like this man.
It's not his fault, right? But,
he belongs on the, like, the list of, like, quality RWBY dilfs.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But here's my thing, okay? It's clear, it's not his fault, okay?
Yes.
You know, I'm not blaming this man or anything.
Okay.
But, like, here's my question, okay? this man seems very nice. So how the fuck did he let his daughter marry
That's
Jacques
what I
Schneid?
said, yeah.
Like, that's what I would like to know.
Yeah, how
You
did-
know, I'm not trying to say that, like, oh no, Cal's victim blaming, like, saying it's Willow's fault. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, like...
Maybe he was just, like,
I don't
more
know.
convincing
I just
back in
wonder,
the day.
like, I'm just like, how could Jacques swindle this man? You know what I mean? I'm
Maybe
just like,
maybe
this
Jacques...
man seems so nice. Like,
Maybe Jacques was nice, but then, like, the power changed him when he died.
maybe.
Because that's the kind of impression you get from, like, Weiss. She said that once, like, I remember when, like, my dad said that he didn't love my mother.
Yeah.
Also, like...
Jacques played his act well. See, I don't believe that, though. I just don't buy that, because to me, Jacques is so transparently, like,
Evil?
bad. I don't know.
Maybe he used to be better at it, and he got out of, like, a habit, because he no longer
I
had
guess by
to be...
the time we see him, he doesn't need to hide it anymore, and
His
so that's
awfulness.
maybe why he's not good at it.
I
but
also
yeah.
find it very interesting that, like, I don't know, man. Like,
But yeah, I just sort
they
of
talk about
wondered-
like daddy issues and like male role models and like
Yeah.
how like you wouldn't put up with that. Like, I don't know. I feel like he would raise a strong woman. Like, how did Winter like Willow? Sorry,
Yeah.
how did Willow not like? I mean, I guess
Yeah.
she didn't, right? Did she? She was like behind his back the entire time.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I
yeah.
guess she kind of knew, right? Like, she
Yeah.
kind of knew that Jacques was an asshole, though.
I wonder if like Jacques or like if Nicholas ever sat her
'Cause,
down and be
like-
like, your boyfriend's a dick.
Yeah, because that's what I sort of wonder about. Because it's not Willow's fault, and
It's
it's
not
not
Willow's
Nicholas's fault either. But I just wonder how it happened. I don't know.
Yeah, like
You know
it
what I
just
mean?
feels like I feel like it's like, nah, my daddy warned me about fuckers
Because
like you.
Nicholas is so, like, determined on making sure that, like, to take care of other people, and that the Dust Company doesn't exist to be, like, aggrandized or
Self-aggrandizing,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what I'm sort of wondering. I'm like, but why?
Maybe he was like, listen, it's too late for your dad. I just want to make sure that like you and Winter
of
are
course.
total
But
assholes.
yeah, I just sort of wonder. I'm just like, but you handed over your company to this man, like to Jacques, but Jacques is not following with your ideals, right? So I sort of wonder, I feel like there's more there that we didn't get to know
Yeah.
yet about like how exactly this happened. Maybe it was an arranged marriage. But that's the other thing, like Nicholas doesn't seem like the type of person that would put his daughter in an arranged marriage because he doesn't care about like riches or anything. Right?
Yes.
The only reason why you would get an arranged marriage is because of like dowry or like money or like
Or,
combination of companies or
political
something.
relationships.
Political interest, but he doesn't seem to give a fuck. So like the only explanation I can think of is either Nicholas warned Willow about Jacques, you know,
Mhm.
like most like one of those adults in those like movies where it's like, but Dad, I love him, and then it's like, no, he's an asshole. You know what I mean? And the girl doesn't learn it until the end of the movie that her parents were right. Like one of those situations where Nicholas warned her, but ultimately like you can't control your child's decisions, or he was that good of an actor. And like we
Maybe
just
he
saw
was, like,
Jacques.
handsome in his day.
I don't know. And we just saw Jacques when he wasn't pretending anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why I'm like, no, Nicholas, I know you wouldn't stand for that. Like, you know what I mean? There must have been. Maybe that's what happened is that he pretended the entire time, but then when Nicholas died, he just flipped the switch and became a completely different person.
Yeah. I think
That's
it's
what
the
I
mustache.
would say. Oh boy.
I think that mustache is pure congealed evil. And then this is where the little girls all stab the person.
Yeah, I thought that was great. Like, I just really like this, like, all of them helping, like,
We're
giving
gonna
Jean
murder him.
the strength. I mean, no, it's not murder. It's just a statue.
I
And,
know.
like, then Jacques is dead. So, you know, good
I
for
think
them,
I made
right?
a joke in the thing about, like, the reaction about, like, you know, therapy's not enough. I need to stab my dad.
Yeah. Oh God. But yeah, and
my
so I
bad,
just
you're
thought that was interesting, like all the little Weisses like helping and everything, and like I thought that this scene was good too, like just because I think that Weiss realizes, she's like, but Blake has been possessed by something. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, so have you, bitch. You don't realize it. It was just one of those things that was kind of like ironically like funny. Anyway, and so let's talk about like RWBY now
Mhm.
because there's, you know, silver-eyed stuff going on somewhat. And so what's interesting about this is that the Grimm is hiding
In her shadow.
in her shadow, or I guess in
And
the
I feel like
shadows. I guess.
That is a little weird, but also I feel like, you know, your shadow, your past, all these,
Sure.
like, nightmare things, they hide in your
I
past.
think it was more so that like it was hiding in like an unexpected place.
Yes.
I guess. Like,
I
you
feel
know
like
what
I feel like you could go on, but maybe I'm stretching a bit, but
Yeah.
like that was kind of and
because
like
it being in RWBY shadow doesn't make that much sense, right? Because it's not her nightmare, because it's not her past. So I think it's just the shadows in general, like it's hiding in the shadows. You know what I mean? I can't wait to see Arcos as parents. Yeah, they really I don't know, I feel like they gave some fan service
I feel like there's
a
pretty big
nice.
thing that will stop them from being
Oh,
parents.
yeah, I know, but I'm saying, I feel like the show kind of, gave that because they know, what happens to Pyrrha, so
Okay, here's a totally unrelated question.
Yeah?
Right? Does John ever get over Pyrrha?
Well, I don't know. The show's not over.
But do you think
What do
he
you
ever
mean?
gets it?
No,
Do you think that, he marries...
Here's my hot take.
I will never love
I have a hot
again.
take about this, okay? Here's my theory about John. I don't think John ever romantically liked Pyrrha. Ever. I don't think that he did. I don't think it was even just I didn't realize my feelings for her until it was too late. I don't think that he ever loved her in that way. He still loved her as a friend, but he never loved her romantically. And after now that she's dead, I feel like that all of these people, mostly the audience, not really anyone in show, they all think that Jean and Pyrrha had this tragic love romance, but really, if Pyrrha lived, he probably would have rejected her, and maybe, oh god, we're frozen again, hold on guys.
I don't know, man.
And maybe, down the line, maybe they would have gotten together.
I think that Jean was oblivious and that he
no.
thought that Pyrrha was too good for him.
Maybe, but he goes for Weiss, who is definitely too good for him, right? So he has no problem doing that. So I don't think that Jean ever loved Pyrrha.
That's an argument to me.
I don't, and he never says it. He never says that he loved her. He's never like, Ren, don't make the same mistake I did. You gotta tell her you love her while she's still alive. They could have done something like that. Jean never gives Ren that advice. And you would think that they would. You know what I mean? You think that they would have Jean say something like that to Ren.
Why does it feel like its own video? Jean never loved Pyrrha.
Yeah. Obviously, Dan's right. I think that he saw her as a special person and, realized how special things could have been, but I don't think he liked her romantically.
Tell us how you really feel.
I'm just saying. I don't know. But, they never say it. And I think that if they really wanted to, something compelling they could have done was have Jean be like, look, I lost the person I love, Ren. Do you really not want to tell Nora that you love her while she's still alive? They could have went and had Jean dig for the deep cut, okay? But they didn't. So why? I don't know. I'm just saying. Isn't that true?
Yeah,
Isn't that true?
I guess
I'm just saying. I
guess so.
I think it may be the case. I'm sorry to tell you guys, but I think that may be the truth. I think that maybe down the line, he would have come to have feelings for her, but I think in the moment that she kisses him, I don't think that he's like, oh, wow, I never realized I had what was in front of me the whole time,
I don't
Proper
know.
hot take, I guess. I
think that
considered
could be
this,
its
but I
own
think
video.
the argument has some evidence. Exactly.
If you really want to piss people off, you pissed off the Bumblebee people
I know, but
recently.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't ship Arcos. I think that Arcos is a cute ship. I just think in the canon, I think that John has more complicated feelings than people may first assume.
Oh, man.
I just think that that's what it is. I'm not saying that you can't ship them. I think they're cute. I love Arcos art. I love seeing that one artist who draws Pyrrha and John and their 5 kids or their 8 kids or how many.
Again.
Oh, are you fucking kidding me?
Why do I feel because
many
how many siblings did John have? I feel like the Arc men are very fertile.
Oh yeah, by the way guys, our camera's fucked, and there's nothing we can do about it, so it just be like that sometimes and we don't know how to fix it and it keeps happening. So, that's always fun. But we'll always come back, or at least that's what I'm saying.
Kirby, we will always
exactly.
back.
John, it was robbed of his chance still. And so, yeah. I still agree with that.
I think he'll take a vow of chastity. And never marry again. But
no, and so to answer your question, Hunter, I think Jean would get over Pyrrha romantically because Pyrrha died. Because if you love someone, you should tell them while they're still around, right? So I think that actually Pyrrha's definitely have the opposite effect on Jean, where he'll try to move forward and shoot his shot because he already lost the chance once to you know what I mean? So that's what I think. I don't think that he's gonna not be with anyone because of Pyrrha. I think it's actually the opposite. If he truly loves someone, he's gonna tell them. I love how this is completely not relevant.
Unrelated.
To this.
Question 2.
Yeah.
If you were dating Jean Arc, first, would you?
Me?
Yes.
No.
Okay, hypothetically, if you were dating Jean Arc or someone like him,
Right.
And, like, he had an ex thing
Right.
that died in a dramatic dragon attack.
Right, right.
That everyone remembers, and he still, like, you know, had like a framed photo.
I feel like this is like an "Am I the asshole?" question.
Yeah,
like
like
Reddit
would
question.
you be upset with that?
I don't know.
And she's gorgeous. Like, she was very attractive to the point where you're like, is she more attractive than me?
I feel like that's complicated because I guess I don't know. It just kind of depends. I think if like they're clearly like I read this Reddit post once, okay? And it was about this guy, like, dating this girl. And the girl realized that she looked exactly like his dead ex. Like, exactly. Right? That, I think, is a little, like, you're clearly replacing someone. But I think if somebody's gotten over it, like, in a healthy way, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Coincidences happen, you know?
Sure. But, like, I don't know. There's some coincidences.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Last genre-related
So
question.
I'm just saying, like, you know, I think that's just dependent on whether or not they're truly hung up on them, but I don't think there's anything wrong with remembering someone in a nice way, you know? Like, in a... Right? We do that with our friends. You wouldn't stop doing that. Like, you wouldn't be like, oh, well, you have new friends now, right? If
I died in a dragon attack, would you keep a framed photo of me in your dwelling?
Yeah, of course I would. I still have our prom picture and we're not dating anymore.
That is true.
I have it on full display. It's in the living room.
That is true.
Right? You know what I mean?
I do see it regularly.
I mean, it's just Arnold, but, like, every other partner that I bring into this house is gonna, like, theoretically, I mean, hopefully it'll stop at Arnold, but I'm just saying in theory, right?
And hopefully I don't die by a dragon.
You know, I'm just saying that, like, oh my god, are you joking? Okay. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't understand what's wrong with, like, the camera exactly, but like I said, we're still checking on it, so, you know, even if we're frozen, we're still with you, okay? But yeah, like, anyway, I'm just saying.
Just pretend it's a podcast for a while.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And so,
anyways, back to the actual
RWBY.
relevant material of the
had
show.
Some questions, Hunter. Okay, so yeah, the Silver-Eyed thing. So some people are mad about this. I don't think it's that big of a deal because I think
that shot looked really dope. The one where she's like tied up and like the light is shooting.
Like the Jesus pose almost, like the Savior pose.
That one, yeah.
Yeah. I think that was really good.
This show has a lot of good moments for screen caps to put in your background.
Yeah, and so some people were mad about the Silver-Eyed thing because it breaks continuity. I think that they explained it well in episode 12 anyway. It's not the camera, Dan, it's OBS. So don't worry, it's not the camera, it's OBS. We don't know why, but I guess OBS updated and now it's like LOL no. But like Arnold even checked, like he waited until the camera froze and then he looked behind it to see if it was frozen on the actual capture and it's not, it's literally
This is an interesting design. I was gonna make a joke about how I wished that like Blake used her weapons on the chains like they were like she was Kratos and she could whip them around.
Yeah.
But if you actually look at the chain, they're not chains. They're like the vines. They're like the spiky vines.
Exactly. They're like the nightmare. And also Adam has
neat.
like thorns as well, right? So yeah, that's interesting.
I like how they work that into the design.
And so
Part of these like does Weiss have thorns on her? I guess
I would say that the
Schnee
symbol has been manipulated
to look like thorny.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't notice that until the very last episode.
But yeah, I think that was really cool. Like the fight was good. I like Weiss, being free. Good,
yes.
Good. I thought that was done really well. They catch the nightmare thingy.
Fishing,
banana.
unconventional fly fishing, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean they wanted him to have they wanted Xion to have a fishing rod.
Yes.
And then they changed it.
I mean,
to the cultural appropriation, but anyway, that's another story.
On one hand, it is kind of a cool idea.
Yeah. I mean, but on the other hand, I mean, isn't there like that
I feel
guy
like a
that
lot of people
in DreamWorks how they how they have that guy on the moon fishing?
Yes.
Isn't that like some sort of mythology reference?
I don't know.
Honestly, like I feel like Clover was such a minor character. They should have just gone with the fishing rod. Just like make it different. Like, you know what I mean?
I would love it. And then he had like Xion has the line going into their ear, and he's like, anytime.
It just like pulls out that fish. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I understand they were like, oh, but Clover has a fishing rod already. But I'm just like, but people have very similar, like Raven and Adam both have a sword. You still made them different somehow. So anyway, that's a whole other conversation. I'm still like, I don't like that they did the Dreamcatcher thing. I'll just say it. I think that I think that it's a little,
I understand the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
I also feel like Japan and anime cognizantly are less like
Yeah.
generally are less
Like, I
cognizant of those
understand
things, to be
that
honest.
somebody with no knowledge would be like, but that's perfect. But, like, if you look into it more, it's not perfect. I don't know why. I don't think that they should have done it. I think they should have done the fishing rod, because I think that there is a fishing rod mythology thingy somewhere. I'm pretty sure. Not just the DreamWorks guy, like, fishing on the moon, but, like, there's actually something else.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I don't know. It just tickled me, like, this idea of, well, Clover has this weapon, this character that's been only in 2 volumes, so Shion can't have it. Like, who the fuck cares? I don't care.
No one
like,
can
you know
kick.
what I mean?
That's Mercury's business.
Like, that's Mercury's thing. Like, nobody else can have boots. Like, we can't do that, right?
Everyone else is shoeless.
But yeah, so the Silver Eye thing, we can see that it's actually happening, like, in real life, too.
That's
But,
wild.
again, I'm not mad about the Silver Eye thing. Like, some people are mad. I don't know. I saw a video where someone was mad or something about it. They were like,
I know,
this breaks continuity. But, like,
Ozpin has a history
it
of
was
not
a
telling
dream.
people.
She doesn't know what really happened.
And it makes sense.
And then
'cause
Ozpin
people-
doesn't explain it either.
Yeah, because people don't really, you don't remember your dreams, so I feel like
Yeah.
that works with the dream
Not
logic.
even just that, but like even John does stuff that he doesn't do in real life. Like Blake is like burning down an entire city right
That's
now.
true.
Like I don't think that RWBY, like it's a fault on RWBY for not realizing that it was real. And I also think that like, you know, Ozpin kind of cleaned it up, the plot line, I guess,
want
right?
like a weird go back one. I want a weird fan fiction about like Pyrrha and Jean.
Taking care of the kid, like a
taking after-
sitcom? you
Yeah,
mean?
like a sitcom. I want the next RWBY anime thing to be a sitcom of Dream Jean, Dream Pyrrha, and their 5 little Weiss babies.
Yeah, I think that'd be cute.
It would be like Muppet babies. It'd be RWBY babies. Just a bunch of little Weisses.
I also like this thing. What helped me be fine with it was this and the explanation that RWBY never stopped to reflect on it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think it's fun. Like, they got away with it. Like, I understand why some people are like, but the continuity. But I'm like, but they cleaned it up. They got away with it. I think that they did. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I do like this conversation, though. Like, but, you know, even with 5 people in my family, I felt totally alone. This was a great shot, too. Like, just Weiss in front of the portrait of her family. I thought that that was really good. And I just like this conversation between them. Again, like some, you know, white rose. I know she says friends, but I don't care. What's weird about the dress is that the dress orchestrates. You know what I mean? For her to like go into the portal.
hole.
And I just thought that was one of those other like dream things where it's like a
Everything
little
makes
bippity
sense in
boppity boo situation.
Everything
there.
makes sense in
And
a
also,
dream.
yeah, like I just thought that that was good. RWBY ever thought back on it and remembered she could think it was something related to the amplified nature of the dream. Yeah, basically. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. Right? And I just like this like reunion between them. I like their little
You're not
hug.
a dictator anymore.
I thought that was cute. Like Weiss, like what am I wearing? So she doesn't even remember. You know what I mean? She doesn't even know what the fuck is going on, right? And so yeah, we're not gonna go through like everything, but I do like how they yoink Blake like out of the grim.
Yang uses Blake's like nascent gay feelings to yank her out of the
Yeah,
grim. I
basically,
enjoy that
right?
quite
And
a
I
bit.
love how Weiss is like, oh my god, I didn't know like that something was wrong with Blake, that Blake's been infected by the nightmare. Like she thinks that this is like Blake's nightmare, and that's like, oh, that's not really how it started, right? And so I just really like this scene with them of, I guess, like them fighting the White Fang was really good. I'm not gonna show all of it because, like I said, my throat hurts and we gotta go. But yeah, I love
the fight
this.
scene's so great.
You know, like for some reason, maybe I'm toxic. But I love when girlfriends fight, okay? Like Catra and She-Ra fighting, I love that.
Oh god,
Both of them fighting,
classic.
I love that. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I just love some girlfriend combat, and like no one's hurt. It's just a dream. You know what I mean? It's not that serious. Like, look at Yang's face. She's like, come on, like, hit me like you mean it, right? Like that sort of thing again. And so I just thought it was not like I kind of like this fight between them, right? Like, also, Yang looks kind of like, I don't know. Maybe that's just her arm. She looked kind of buff right there. You know what I mean? She should be buff. You're absolutely right, Hunter. But yeah, I don't know. Her arm just looked buffer than usual. But I love this. I love, like, you know, eyes are the window to the soul. Without the masks, she can actually, like, see, like, Yang for, like, who she is in front of her. Like, I just thought that was nice. What was pretty fucked, though, I'll show you guys this in a minute. It's kind of funny. But yeah, and so I love her using the coin to, like, pull herself out. But, like, this thing is, like, left as, like, an empty shell that the nightmare controls, which I think is so funny. Also, okay, so when I said that, like, oh, like, Ice Queendom's making me ship Bumblebee again, this is what I meant. Like, look at this. Look at how tenderly they look at each other. Like, it's just so sweet. Like, you know what I mean?
I want someone to look at me like that after they punch me in the eye.
Not like that. Oh my god. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just such genuine concern, and I think it's just cute, right? Anyway, the nightmare. But yeah, the
I do find it amusing that like they were able to fix like Blake and Jean
But they had a
like one
coin.
quick.
And she was holding on to the coin inside, like on the inside. So I think
Okay.
it makes sense, right?
How
Okay.
did the coin work?
Because the coin lets them do something,
Oh.
right? So I think it let her break out of the nightmare. Like it gave her
That
the
makes
escape
sense.
route.
Okay.
Can we just talk about Yang's head?
Why?
Not to be that person, but like
She got a little wide.
I don't know what they did. Some of the animation in this episode is a little weird sometimes.
Some of
Like
the
some of the
faces
faces
get a little
got
weird.
a little weird, but like it's just funny. I don't know. It just made me laugh. It was so like round. But yeah, and so I love Blake fighting the shell of Blake. What's interesting is though, and I don't think this was a choice because sometimes she has the eye and sometimes she doesn't. So sometimes, because this Blake is hollow, she has no eyeball here, which I thought was a very compelling choice. But then in some of the other shots, she does have the eyeball, so I don't know like if it was
What
actually a
other
choice.
shot?
I think this shot she...
Oh, that just looks
I don't know.
right.
Let me see. Hold on.
Part of me is like, was
In
that
another shot
was
she
that
has
just an
it.
animation?
Oh,
yeah, there
so
it is.
I liked it better when it was empty.
Yeah.
Because that sort of represented that it was a puppet and Blake wasn't in there anymore.
I wonder if that's like an animation mistake.
Yeah, but some of it looked empty. I like the empty looked better. I wonder if they actually including the eye was the mistake and they meant for it to be empty.
Either
so
or.
yeah, and so this fight was really, really cool. Again, Yang does some like cool shit right here. I thought that was great.
Socially
like what a great
acceptable
shot.
places
you know?
with which to punch your girlfriend.
And so yeah, I like the shot of all of them working together to defeat.
Just beating the shit out of like.
I mean the puppet, right? It's
evil
basically
Blake.
a puppet, right? And so yeah, I just really like this, and it has such like physics on it too. Like it just like pummels to the ground. Like look at how it twists too. Like that was like really good like animation.
Like I feel like some of the fight scenes here.
A sacrifice of in-combat animation. Yeah, I guess they sacrificed Yang's head to focus on the fight scene. Is that what you guys are saying?
I feel like they also like with this one it has more like a Dragon Ball quality when they're zooming around and like there's wind where in regular RWBY you don't get that. I also find it amusing that like
I mean you also don't have wind because like their hair is like plastic and all one not texture, all one asset, you know what I mean?
But the fight scenes aren't the same, like jumping up in the air, like to the same extreme.
I mean, I just think, and again, maybe this is a hot take too, I think the reason why the fights are so much more compelling in 2D is just because, like, the problem with 3D sometimes is that, like, your shit looks like plastic, and you can't move stuff like the individual hair strands around the body and, like, that sort of thing. Like, it's just a limitation of 3D that they have to deal with, right?
I like how that's the second time Blake has stabbed
Also, I think
Adam.
Adam stabs her through that area into her stomach, but from the front.
Oh,
I think
that's
as
true.
well, right? So I wonder if that's also, I don't know, foreshadowing or something.
But like, yeah, did Yang stab Adam in the back, or did
I don't know.
Blake? I think Blake stabbed her in the front.
Yeah, I don't remember.
You know, you gotta get diversities.
But I'm just saying, like, I think this was
you know?
like really good because it's like it's not me, like it's who I used to be. Like I really like that, like literally. Like killing your past self, like, you know what I mean? I thought confronting your past self, it was very dramatic and I love that. Also, this fight scene as well. So like I said, we're not going to go through every little part of the fight scene.
But like this little scene was cute
stunning,
where like everyone has their own little silhouette.
The silhouette
thing.
was cool. I really like that.
Was neat.
It's like Grim Vision in a way. Like this is what the Grim sees. Yang stabbed him in the back. Blake got him in the front. Well, you know what? We're just, you know, she's spicing it up.
This is like a POV. You're getting your ass kicked by Team RWBY while trying on different shaded sunglasses.
Oh my god. Yeah, and so I just really liked that.
And on the inside is like the normal white thing.
Yeah, so I guess that's a representative thing of what, it's like the persona treasure. It's like that's what started, you know, I guess, I don't know how to explain it. Like that's what started the thing. It's like, it's Blake's treasure, right? And so I love this scene where they all shoot at the nightmare that's like hiding in the shadow.
It's interesting because, like, I think the animation's also a little weird how they animate them. It's not weird in a bad way, but it is, like, unique to that one scene. And also they give RWBY, like, an automatic rifle.
Well,
like,
I mean,
it fires, it has a rapid fire instead of, like, a shotgun.
Yeah.
Which I feel like lends more credence to our initial interpretation of that, which is that Weiss didn't pay much attention to RWBY's weapon.
So this is a big old Kingdom Hearts, you know, vibe. Like,
I can't believe
simple and clean on the back of the...
I made
You were like, oh, Cal, are you going to make a Kingdom Hearts joke? And I was like,
I'm like, I don't even remember from what game, but
it's Kingdom Hearts 1. Like the worlds are reconstructed, and so that's where they're all, like, it's kind of the opposite of this, where the world's reconstructed.
Goodbye, wife. Goodbye, baby Weiss 1.
I know.
Goodbye, baby Weiss 2.
It's so sad, and they're all disappearing. laughing, but like it's okay. I mean, they were real.
I also love how Weiss like, were those
like who are those
pure?
kids? And I'm just
who
like,
are those kids?
bitch,
You.
like, you're not that stupid, are you? Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, I love this conversation with them. I love them, like, Weiss's over-dramatic reaction. Like, if there's anything that Ice Queendom did, I love seeing Weiss be, like, a total crybaby. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, very sensitive and, like, this sort of, right? Because you see this in the show a little, but I guess not just to the same degree.
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of love, like, this idea that Weiss is, like, you know, very cold, but on the inside, she's just, like, again, crybaby energy, right? And I love this. I love, like, everything's gonna work out now because you're awake, and I thought that was really sweet.
Let's
And,
use
like,
the last coin to get out of here.
Yeah, and,
Good
like,
thing
all
you
the
had a last
shattering
coin.
effect was really good right here. And
It would be amusing if, like, the second that their, like, Shion's semblance is out or, like, runs out of aura, like, the rope just disappears and they all flop to the ground.
yeah, that would have been
And,
funny.
like, hit their heads off of a foot high drop?
Yeah.
Only about a foot high.
I was gonna try to get to the end of this episode, but I really have to use the bathroom. Like, super badly, so hold on. Okay, I mean, Hunter, you can entertain them.
Do I get... Alright. I'm in charge
I don't know
now.
what you're gonna talk about with them, but, you know, I'm trying to make sure that they don't see my feet as I walk away. No free feet on this internet.
That's
I'll
for
be
the
right back.
OnlyFans. So, to answer my own Pura-related question, personally, what I would do, I would feel okay if, like, my ex had this, like, beautiful blonde Adonis boyfriend who... Wait, no, John doesn't die, Pura dies. So if my partner had this, like, beautiful red-headed Adonis girlfriend who died tragically in a dragon attack, or whatever the real world equivalent of a dragon attack would be, I would be okay with that. Would I do that? I would probably do that. I don't know. Like, would I keep a photo of Cal around if she died in a dragon attack? I'm pondering. What I wasn't gonna ask, but I didn't get the chance to ask you, which was my third question, was would you fake interest in a grieving Jean to get closer to Saffron?
What do you mean?
To his older sister.
If you wanted to date Saffron?
Yes.
That's kind of fucked up.
Saffra and Tara,
Right.
if you knew, like, that you would hurt John's feeling, but there was a 100% chance that you would be invited into the polycule.
Oh my god. They're a little old, though. They have a kid.
They could be like 30.
A little old for me. Alright, guys, are you ready to keep going? Okay. But yeah, and so I really like that we actually see, like...
Arnold's 30 years old, if you didn't get that joke.
If we,
How dare you?
If we see the damage on... But if Arnold had a kid, it would be different. You know what I mean?
I don't care. I would look after that child.
I don't know about
Adrian
that.
would love me.
I'm a little young for that sort of
I'm
responsibility.
okay for that. I'm okay to do that.
Anyway, so yeah, I like that they show, like, the wear on Weiss's face,
I
I
feel
guess.
like they'd look after me. Anyways.
I like that Weiss is kind of, like mortified.
Embarrassed and a little, like, yeah, it's, like, less that it's funny that they categorize her as less being, I don't know.
I like this
Less being
her,
traumatized and more just being really embarrassed that everyone saw her deepest insecurities.
Yeah, like, you know, she doesn't need to be, I mean, not, okay, I shouldn't say that, but, like, she doesn't, why would she be traumatized, though?
I don't know. Don't you wake up, like, really fucked up from bad dreams?
Maybe, but was it a bad dream or was it a weird dream?
And also, you nearly killed your friends a bunch of times.
Well, yeah,
You
that's
almost
true,
nearly
I
died
guess.
in your dream, you know? Like, I feel like that would mess me up
I'm just saying, I think embarrass makes the most sense because it's not necessarily a nightmare.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
It's
Because the
a
Grim
hostile
wants to
case.
keep you there.
I don't know, if I nearly got murdered in my sleep by, like, a demon monster, I think I'd be a little thrown off by it.
Maybe, but yeah.
And then suddenly everyone knew how bad, like, my daddy's issues
I think
were.
that she has time to process it. Like, she's
You
more
know?
embarrassed because being embarrassed makes the most sense, at least
That's
to me.
fair.
You know? But yeah, that is actually the end of the episode.
Is that
so
water
I wish...
you're drinking in that glass?
Yeah?
Okay.
Why?
I thought it was apple juice.
No.
It looks weirdly yellow.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
need to clean the pipes? Are we like...
No,
we
it's
die?
just, it's the cup. The cup
Oh,
has a
now
tint
it's fine.
to
Oh,
it.
it's because it's sitting on an orange thing. I was really worried
Oh,
that you were
Hunter.
drinking, like,
Oh,
poison
no.
water.
But yeah,
or
so
apple
that
juice.
is the end of 11.
Yes.
Okay.
Now for the fluff episode.
Yeah.
Now now for the long-awaited beach RWBY episode.
So I think some people, I already predict, are going to have an issue with this episode because they probably could have seen it as runtime that could have gone towards, like, the other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, the stuff that was actually Ice Queendom specific, if that makes sense. I am not one of those people. I don't give a shit. I know that this is fan service, but I think this is actually a good ending. Like, this makes sense.
Sure.
You know what I mean? To me, ananyway. Like, the final, like, brouhaha? You know, final, like
fight was
woo!
really good.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think
Solid.
that, like, this episode really sent it off.
Like,
Whereas,
decompression.
I don't feel like if they just ended it with Weiss being saved, I would feel complete in any way. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they needed something.
This is the falling action.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
everyone, like, decompresses and, like, talks about the lessons they learned.
Yeah, and I think that's okay. Like, you
and
know
there
what
was
I mean?
some action in it, too, in the end.
Because I do understand why people may feel that way, especially because this isn't a remake. It's, like, supposed to be its own thing, but it still has that remake qualities. But I don't know. I just don't care. I liked seeing it, so I'm okay with it. Maybe that's a bad attitude, but I liked it, so I don't give a shit if it's actually bad or whatever. But, like, I don't know. I just feel like that it was a good way to send off, and I understand what people mean, that they would have wanted that sort of attention to go into, like, episodes like episode 10. But I feel like that we should get to see the events of, like, after and how that affects them and everything. Oh, yeah. So much for Xion being evil, by the way.
Yeah,
we really hung on to that.
You hung on that.
I'm saying me and the person in the chat. Like, we really tried until the end.
Although
but
someone in the chat brought up a cool idea where it's like a spin-off anime series about Xion.
I don't know, though. I feel like that Xion may not be popular enough for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They don't have enough of a personality.
Yeah. I mean, not even that, but, like, how do I explain this? You could do a Full Metal Alchemist spin-off about another person, like another alchemist, going about their business. You know what I mean?
Like an alchemist that was in the whatever war.
Sure. Or you can do a Death Note spin-off where they have, right? Because the Death Note is the idea, the plot device is the Death Note. You know what I mean? Like, that makes sense. But I just don't think that the nightmare thing makes sense as much because, like, it doesn't necessarily have any relation to, like, the main shit that goes on in RWBY. And I'm not saying that it has to. I don't know how to explain this, though. Like, I understand what you guys mean. Like, a spin-off where Xion goes around saving people from this Grim. But, like, RWBY's not about the Grim?
Yes.
Is that fair to say? Like, RWBY's not about the Grim.
It's about the characters, and I feel like we wouldn't be invested.
Or it's about really, it's about Salem in a sense, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so I understand.
I feel like what it could be was like, what was that anime we watched together? It was, it's the one where they go to the afterlife, and it's the
Death
bar.
Parade?
Yes, Death Parade.
Yeah.
I imagine a kind of Death Parade thing where, like, each episode, Xion goes to meets these new people who have a new, like, infestation. So every, like, 2 or 3 episodes, you get a new person, and it's about that individual person's story. And it's kind of vignettes.
And I understand.
And we learn about
their background. And I think that's a cool idea for an original show.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, it's not RWBY if there's no RWBY. Like, okay, so even, like, a Team Stark spinoff, or Team Coffee Books, or Roman Holiday, like, those still feel like RWBY.
Yes.
But I don't think Xion going around saving people from the nightmare would.
That would feel like something different.
It would feel like its own thing.
But is something different so bad?
No, it's not bad, but I would say that it wouldn't really be a RWBY property, or wouldn't feel that way, I don't think.
Yeah.
I also think, here's the problem with Xion, I guess, is the reason why Coffee and Roman Holiday and, like, a theoretical Stark spinoff, because there isn't a real one, right? Like, the reason why those work is because they keep the format of, like, a team, if that makes sense. Sure. And the team dynamic that is unique to RWBY in comparison, I guess, to not, like, other anime do have the team dynamic, but not as built in, I guess.
What if it was like Team Dreams?
Yeah.
Or Team Sleep?
I think
SLEP.
I think if
Xion's the leader.
I think if Xion had a team, it would be a little different, possibly. But I think because Xion works alone, that's what would be the difficult sell, because they're, like, I don't know. Like, nobody in RWBY works by themselves. Is that fair to say? No, Crow has Team Stark.
Well, for a while he was by himself.
Right. But I'm saying, like, functionally in terms of what we would see. like Roman has Neo, Team Coffee is together, Team Ruby's together, Team Juniper's
I don't know, maybe
together.
like a Team Dream, Team Sleep.
Yeah, like if Xion had team members and they went around doing shit, I think that would be a little different.
Like,
but I think the lack of team makes it feel like a different show.
Scenario where they just get on their, like, he gets in his van and they just go around and...
Yeah, you know what I mean, though? Because I think that, like every RWBY character, except for, you know, Crow working by himself, that's whatever. But, like, every RWBY character that we have seen in either the main show or a spin-off property has a connection to at least someone where you could look at that dynamic and think that it's still interesting, right? Like the Happy Huntresses, right? Like, you know, again, like the Aesop. Some people want Aesop, like, before, like, book and stuff like that. The reason why I think that Xion is, like, complicated is because as far as we know, Xion just works by himself, and it's not, it just feels not like RWBY, because even the villains don't work alone, you know what I mean? But as far as we know, Xion is just all alone, which is kind of sad. A little depressing. But yeah, I don't know. I would think that would make a good, like, little manga thing. But I don't know if I'd watch 12 episodes of Xion going around saving people.
The Xion Show.
Yeah. Unless they were like, I don't know, unless they were like...
Oh, what if they were a Beacon student? What if it talks about, like, because you briefly see...
If you had Beacon Xion learning how to save people with his team,
and
that may be
when
interesting.
They were younger.
Yeah.
You might get a cameo from young Crow. And,
but, like, I guess I just feel like that with certain things, there are certain elements that you need to keep of something or else it becomes a different story or, like, part of a different thing. You know what I mean? Like, how do I think about this? Like, okay, so there's this Vocaloid song, and I talked about this with Hunter yesterday because of a different related conversation. But there's this Vocaloid song where it's about, like, this kid who gets taken to Neverland by Tinkerbell, and they are Peter Pan, right? And so they do stuff on the island, and they, you know, Captain Hook is terrorizing the island, right? And so Peter Pan defeats Captain Hook, and, like, there's peace. And then after that, Peter Pan gets bored because there's peace, and there's nothing to do, and he's stuck on this island, and so then he, as he's growing up, becomes the new Captain Hook, because, you know, adults are bad, and I guess when you grow up, you just have an intrinsic desire to destroy or something, so he turns on all his friends and becomes the villain, because he's grown up, and he's grown out of being the hero, so he becomes Captain Hook, basically. And how it ends is that Tinkerbell goes to get another boy, who becomes Peter Pan, who is sent to kill the Peter Pan that now has turned into Captain Hook, and the cycle continues. So the reason why I bring that up is because I would say that, like, if you were doing, like, a Peter Pan retelling, I think that, like, you know, you can do a lot to change it, but there's, like, intrinsic things that, like, need to remain, or else it's not Peter Pan anymore, like, in any capacity. And some of those things may be like Tinkerbell, or a version of Tinkerbell, a version of Captain Hook, a version of the island. Like, you can do it in space. You can have it be a planet, you know, you don't need to have it, but...
Tinkerbell in space!
Like, you know what I mean? Or like Cinderella. Like, for Cinderella to still be Cinderella, she still has to go to the ball and dance. It doesn't need to be with a prince, but it has to have those, like, story beats. So I guess the problem is, like, I see RWBY as, like, you have to have, like, huntsmen, and they have to work in a team of 4. Or if they're not working in a team of 4, they need to work in, like, a unit with other people for a specific... like, reason. You know what I mean? Like the Happy Huntresses, or even the White Fang, or, like, the villains, or whatever. So, like, there's an idea with RWBY that people collectively work together. Like, even the random-ass huntsmen we see, like Dee and Dudley, there's 2 of them. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if they were together or whatever. Or, like, the Malachites. Right? Like, the twins are together, like, the organization. There's always someone, like, working together, I guess. And so the team of 4, I feel like, is so intrinsic to RWBY that if you have a character who's not part of that team of 4 and have it, like, be like that sort of thing, it would be a little complicated. I feel like that's also why, to an extent, like, a Maria spinoff wouldn't necessarily work, even though I'm very interested in it, because if it's just Maria traveling alone defeating Grimm, it loses the aspect of, like, the team component of friendship, which is what RWBY's
but I also
about.
feel like it could be something else where it could be almost like...
unless you're making friends along the way, like Cyrus is
saying. Yeah, it could
saying.
be like, you know, it could be almost like episodic, where it's just Maria going from town to town, saving the day, and there's, like, a new story and lesson, et cetera, and
But is that what RWBY's about, though?
Well...
You know what I mean?
I think it can be that.
Because I think that, like, the friendship angle is just so important for everything. You know?
I mean, for this version of RWBY,
I don't know if it would feel. I don't know if it would feel like RWBY.
I don't think it necessarily has to be that.
Yeah, I guess that's just sort of a me
because it's a spinoff, so it's not going to feel like this RWBY. Obviously.
Right. I'm just saying in the context of like that's why I'm like I don't know about that because like I know that it would still be a spinoff, but like it wouldn't feel like RWBY. It would feel like Adventures of Remnant, which is different than RWBY. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's just something that I think about. Like, I guess you could have Xion make friends along the way, but then it's like, but why do I care? You know what I mean? Why do I care about Xion? Like, we've spent all our time with these characters. Like, they would really have to try. And, like, no offense to Xion, but he doesn't seem that, they don't seem that interesting right now. Like, they have three personality traits, which is they sleep, they're a little sassy, and they're quiet. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
That's you, so I don't understand why you're so judgmental about
I'm just saying, I think you'd have a really tough time. It's kind of the same as Maria. Like, Maria, as the younger Maria, she's a very talented fighter, and she's sassy, and but she's also a loner. And, like, sometimes that's kind of difficult to have a character that's, like,
I feel like she could pick up, like, I feel like we're arguing over a hypothetical show.
I mean, we're spending way too much time on it.
But yeah,
I don't know.
I think that could still be a good show.
Yeah, I don't know. Would it be better, though, than, like, a Team Stark spinoff and, like, stuff that people actually want?
I don't know.
Because I feel like, and again,
I feel like it could be its own thing. It wouldn't be weighted down with the expectations.
I'm just saying, like, not to, you know, shit all over the person in the chat that had the idea, but if Xion got an anime, while the Team Coffee books still haven't been animated... I would be a little mad.
That's
like,
just you and your Team Coffee
But, like, even
bias.
Team Stark, like, people want other things. People want things for the characters we already have. Not for this one-off character that the studio, you know, basically made for this one concept, I guess, right? I don't know. Maybe people do want a Xion show, but, like, I would be a little, like, peeved about that,
If I had to choose between a Xion show or, like, a Maria Calavera...
Oh, yeah, I'd pick Maria for sure. But I'm just saying, like, there's a hierarchy of, like, importance, I think. And, like, even when Queendom was announced, I was a little bit like, really? Over the coffee books or whatever? But, like, now with the Justice League, it's just getting, like, in my head, I'm just like, really? Over this other thing?
No one, like... I need you to understand.
Not just Team Coffee, though. Like, really? We're doing RWBY and the Justice League over Team Stark shit?
No one likes coffee as much as you do.
But I'm just saying, Hunter, in principle, though, can you really make the argument that more people care about the Justice League than Team Stark in terms of RWBY fans, though?
I feel like there's probably crossover between, like...
Right, but do they care more? Is that what everyone wanted? They all wanted the Justice League, you know?
I also feel like... there's a time and a place for the Stark, and I feel like the time and a place for the Stark spinoff would be after RWBY.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that's why they haven't done it, because they're gonna do it after RWBY's done. But I'm just saying, like, functionally... I don't know. It would make me a little peeved. I'd feel a little peeved inside.
Anyways, episode 12.
You know what? A good segue for this. What I would really want them to do is, like, slice of life RWBY. Like, they do it so well in this episode, right? And so I feel like, again...
Do they do it well, or are we just, like, cooing?
I think that it's not. I love
the
it in
Ninjas
this
of Love.
episode. And I think that, like... Again, just priority list. I would rather them do this, like RWBY school days and just their time in school. You know what I mean? Like, and stuff like that. And so I like RWBY writing the letter, and then, like, her writing a letter to Winter. I thought that was really cute. I like how they talk about, like, the different tasks that they have to do. But yeah, and I also just, like, I think what's really, like, what really sold me on this episode was, like, not even, like, the main stuff, but the background interaction. Like, I love Yang wanting to play a game with Blake, but Blake is reading her book, and I love Yang's hair here. It looks great, by the way. And I love them talking and, like, hey, will you play this game with me? And, like, you know, RWBY is obviously talking over them, and she's like, nah, I don't really feel like it, you know, whatever. And you, like, see, like, you know, Yang's little dejected face. Like, it's that stuff. That's what I want. You know what I mean? Like, more than, like, another season of Ice Queendom, I just wish that they would do this. Like, you know what I mean? Instead of Ice Queendom
again. That's why we have fanfiction. You need to read more fanfiction.
Yeah, I guess, but fanfiction's not animated. It's animated in my head, but it's not animated. You know what I mean?
You just need to learn to read.
I do read, though. I'm just saying. I want to see things. Right? And so, yeah, I really like the back and forth of the Weiss and RWBY, voiceover as this stuff is happening. Can we talk about this, though? This is so funny. Like, what the heck is this?
It's a very
you know what
weird.
I mean? This is so janky. Like, who did this? Why?
But I mean, I don't know. It's kind of cute.
It's just a one-off thing, right? But I'm like,
I also like how in the fight scene,
you know what they should have done? I don't know if this would have been allowed, but they should have been playing Blaze Blue. Not as themselves, but as other Blaze Blue characters. That would have been actually smart.
That would be funny.
Like, that would have been funny. I don't know if they have the rights, you know what I mean? I don't know what the rights situation is for that, but that would be really funny.
Or, like, they could do, like, a parody, like, Schmaze Schmoo.
What?
So instead of...
Yeah, but I'm just saying it would be, like, that would have been, like, actually, like,
also,
kind of
one
funny.
of the times, one of the ninjas gets punched in the crotch, which...
feels very,
Yang.
you know,
like
Yang, I guess. But yeah, and so I really like them playing together. Like, I thought that was just so wholesome. Like, it was, that was like some nice, like, Bumblebee juice. I always call it juice. I don't know why, like, you know, not evidence, but like, build stuff, like moments. Like, just, you know, like, in the meter of Bumblebee, in the meter of life. Like, it just gave points to the meter. You know what I'm saying? And it just made me so happy to, like, see them together like that. Because it's such, like, a little thing, but I thought it was so cute. And I like, Weiss has a lot of good expressions here, but like I said, I'm not going to show you guys,
I also like how they're,
everything.
like, talking about each other, and it's just...
Yeah, and, like, like, everything that they've learned, and, like, what it means to trust one another and everything. And so, yeah, then they have this little conversation. I think that the book thing happens later. Like, I think Blake getting the payback for the books and everything. Fuel. Yes, probably. Fuel is better than juice. Energy. Bumblebee energy. Bumblebee fuel.
Juice is like, you mean honey.
Yeah.
I think it's called honey.
Man. But yeah, I really like this conversation between them, but they're thinking about this, like, in hindsight, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not going to show you guys, again, everything.
They're just like, I care.
But I like, you know, them forgiving each other.
And, like,
their
I'll
little
trust
handshake.
you, I'll work through this.
Yeah, like, the little, like, moment
it,
that
like,
they both have.
It, like, addresses things. I think it's good.
Yeah, and I just
and
love
they
to
just
see them,
look
like,
at my babies.
Cute.
I also feel
so
like this
happy.
is a recreate of a moment from
I think it's like the bonsai type thing, but, like, a little different. Like, you know, and I just love their expressions. Like, I love how, like, you know, like, how they both look. It's so cute. And I think this was good for, like, White Rose, too. So that was something that she was remembering, right? That was the implication with that right there. And so, yeah, I love Blake, like, giving Yang all these books.
To be my friend, you need to do these required readings.
I know. Well, I think it's because she challenged her to the game, right? Like, I did something that you wanted me to do, so now you have to do something I want you to do, which I thought was so cute. I thought that was adorable. I, like, look at her face, you know? Aw, I thought this was cute, though. See, I just want this. Like, you know what I mean? I just want a whole show of, like, this type of thing. Right? And so that's what I'm sort of thinking. Like, that's just what I want. And I love this 2D coffee machine moment. I don't know why they did it.
That was so out of, like...
And I love...
They had, like, oh shit, we forgot to animate the coffee.
I thought it was cute. I liked the little, like, I don't know, I liked the 2D, like, art style for a minute.
But it was kind of distracting.
Like, look at them, like, sharing the coffee together. It's so sweet. And, like, I just thought that was so cute. Also, something that this anime has done, which is really, really good, is given us, like, nice art of the backgrounds.
Yes.
So, like, if we ever make a video, like, you know what I mean? I think for the Fox and Neo video, I, like, cut them out and put them on a background of Beacon, like, some random background of Beacon or something. So, like, for the thumbnail to our announcement of doing, like, the ship week and everything. So, like, I just love that. Love that for us, right? But yeah, and so I don't have a lot to say about Xion going home because it's kind of funny that, like, he gives this whole speech and I'm like, man, like, you didn't really have much personality before this to be giving this, like, heartfelt goodbye. But I do like it, though. And I like the animation of, like, this. I thought that this was really cool. Like, whoosh, like, whoosh. I thought that was really fun. And I like that sort of shot and everything. But yeah, I was like, I don't know, this is kind of funny because, like, Xion, they've been around, obviously.
For a while.
You know, but, like, I don't know, we didn't get to see their personality a lot, so it feels like, okay, here's my exposition dump before I leave. Like, here's my personality, here's what happened to me, my semblance grew stronger.
And then it looks like someone in a business suit with, like, a totally blacked
I wonder what the fuck was happening about this, by the way.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, I guess this was some random person that got infected by the nightmare he was saving or something. So yeah, that was just kind of weird. Like, you know, I don't know. I'm like, do we need this? Maybe we did, but it was just kind of strange, right? And so I do like this though, like, oh, you know, your semblance grows, because we do see, like, evolutions, like with Ren, like Ren has a semblance evolution. Like, I like this strong auras but sensitive personality. And I thought that was nice. I just really like this conversation. Their facial expressions are so good. Like, I could just take, like, every screen cap of every RWBY character, and they look so good. Like, mostly, you know, other than some weird animation things, they just look so good. Like, I'm just like, wow, Weiss and Yang, you guys are so pretty. Like, I'm so much more gay than I was before this anime happened. I thought that you were going to laugh at that. You have no reaction. Did you even hear what I said?
No, that it's gayer. I mean, yeah, they did have a lot of really nice moments.
That I'm gayer, because they're more pretty. I don't know. I just find them more pretty, I guess. Anyway.
Falling in love with.
And so, yeah, I do love this, though. I love, like, they were able to balance, like, Nora being a little sassy without her being, like, a total, like, bitch. You know, so I thought that was good, because I was worried about that a little bit. You know what I mean? Especially because she seems more harsh on John than in the main show, but I feel like it's, you know, it's cheeky, it's funny, right? And I like this shot with, like, all of them behind him. I thought that was cool. But yeah, I'm just like, okay, Xion. You know what I mean? I just think it's just funny. Like, I guess, like, Xion, like, giving this big speech, like, I look forward to seeing you grow. And we never saw Xion again. So it's just kind of funny. Like, I get it. I think that Dan's right. Like, it highlights, like, their semblance growth and, like, their potential and everything. But don't you just find it kind of funny, though?
A little bit,
that it's like, I look forward to seeing you grow.
It's like, I hope to never see you again, because, like, whenever you show up, it's because one of us is possessed.
Yeah, and I love, like, Ruby's little face here and everything, right? And so, yeah, I thought that this was sweet, but I'm like, we are never gonna see this person again. So it's just funny, like, what is Xion doing since Beacon fell? What is he doing? Like, what are they doing? And so, yeah, I really like this scene with them just, like, fooling around.
I love how, like, why does, like, Nora's little pinchy fingers?
Well, she's probably making fun of her or something, right? Yeah, I like that parallel they drew between RWBY and Pyrrha, because I think it's very,
like... More of Nora being a menace. I think we need that.
Yes. I think it's very, like, that self-sacrifice sort of thing, in a way. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, Pyrrha and RWBY both have a very heroic, like, doing what needs to be done for, like, the good of the world attitude, I guess. So I kind of like that parallel with them. Whereas, like, Yang has very protective energy to protect her sister and her friends, and John kind of has that energy. Like, it's almost like, not that John doesn't care about the world, but John cares about making sure the world is a good place for his friends. Whereas Pyrrha will always care about the good of the world, regardless. You know?
Yes.
I don't know. Is that fair to say? Do you guys think that too?
Fair to say.
Yeah. And so I think that that's sort of why they drew that parallel. Because RWBY and Pyrrha will do good to do good, whereas, you know, this is about, like, oh, I just want to make a world where my friends can be happy, in a sense, right? And so, yeah, I think this, like, again, the Xion and Ozpin thing, like, I like their last little conversation here, but it's kind of random, because I'm like, where did Xion go? Xion's been in a long nap in a hammock somewhere. Oh, no.
Xion fucked out from the school. Like, it's too wild over here.
So, with the Blake and RWBY conversation, I think with the RWBY one, we're not going to go into it too much, because it's not that it's not important, but I do like the resolution of it. I do like, oh, you know, Ozpin teasing about the silver eyes.
I liked how they made his office seem more interesting, because the way the light, like, the shadows move.
Yeah, it is very interesting. There's some great lighting here.
I also like that they kept his dick chair.
Oh my god.
That was always nice.
I like the ticking noise, like the sound design was very good.
Although if I had to work in that office, I'd lose my fucking mind. And
so I think we're gonna move past some of this, right? Because it's basically Ozpin just teasing her about, like, the silver eye
I feel like we should also explain our position on why we think this is okay.
Well, I mean, we already talked about that a little.
Okay.
Like, we think it's okay because RWBY doesn't remember it, and Ozpin is historically not, like, he's just like, well, when you need it again, it'll find you. Like, if he explains it to her, you know what I mean? Like,
and it's also like, maybe he doesn't know for certain.
If it was the silver eyes or not. I feel like he does, though. I feel like that's not true.
Suspicion.
I feel like he knows it was, but he wants to let her activate it in real, actual life before he goes into detail and explaining, like, what it is. You know what I mean? I think
it could maybe scare her or overwhelm her.
Yeah.
That, like,
because she believes in the
warriors.
power of friendship. Silver Eye is the power of love, right? So he's probably like, yeah, you'll be fine. You know, I feel like that's why he doesn't tell her. because she'll figure it out in the future as long as she already like has this idea of like how much friendship means and matters. So yeah, I think it's fine. I know some people are mad about it. I don't care. I think that the conversation's fine. I think it perfectly makes sense that Ozpin would know that she activated the Silver Eyes and not tell her. That's like 100 characterization. And yeah, that's true too. You don't want her running around blasting everything as well. Like, he knows that she's still gonna go out on missions and do stuff. And RWBY is in a position where she really wants to prove herself in her strength. So I do feel like that Volume 4 RWBY is mature enough to, like, keep the Silver Eyes as, like, kind of a secret. I don't know if this RWBY's mature enough, to be honest, because the only reason why RWBY is that mature in Volume 3 is because she understands the gravity of the world falling apart and there being true danger and people that will hunt her down. You know what I mean? But I feel like this RWBY doesn't know about that. She thinks that we're in a time of peace. Why wouldn't you use the Silver Eyes against the Grimm if there was no consequence? Because there really isn't. The consequence is Salem, but she doesn't know that, right? So I think it makes perfect sense for him to not tell her, because then she would just go blasting things all the time, and that would be a problem, right? Because in theory, like, there's no consequence, like, to using the Silver Eyes. The only reason that you should keep them a secret is because Salem will come hunt you down and kill you and turn you into a hound, right? And so I think that, like, he's content with the outcome, that she doesn't really know what happened, and I think it makes sense. To me, anyway. Because this RWBY, I don't think, is mature enough to keep the power yet. Yeah. Exactly. And, like, he wants to keep RWBY's innocence of, like, because if he told her what the Silver Eyes were, he would inherently have to explain that there's people out there that will want to kill her for having them. And so I think that it was a good call for Ozpin to, like, not do that. You know what I'm saying?
But I also feel like, wouldn't that be kind of irresponsible, because you're not telling about someone about a very real threat?
Wow, Ozpin being irresponsible? That's never happened before. Damn, like, Pyrrha's shaking, you know? Anyway, I'm just saying. You know, and so it's funny because they say, right here actually, we'll show this.
Ozpin viewing people, I've never been called out like you in this public theater like that before.
Oh my god.
Oh, Ozpin, like, using children as pawns
like,
in a vast chess game.
Ozpin not telling
against
people
his
things.
ex-wife.
Wow, Hunter, I'm so shocked. Anyway, and so yeah, like, I just think it's funny you said that. You were so serious too. Don't you think that's irresponsible? And you said that so, like, with a straight face, and I'm like, yeah, Ozpin's entire character is irresponsible. Anyway, but yeah, and so I like that Blake's like, don't wait for me, but then Weiss does wait. Like, Weiss will wait for her because she's worried, right? So we're not going to go through all this because I feel like we don't need to. It's the exact same conversation that happens in Volume
with a little more
1.
detail. Yeah,
with some sass, a bit more detail. They aren't in, like, a weird dark room, right? You know, I do like, again, the lighting changes with the gears was really good. There was also, like, some Death Note vibes of Ozpin being
there
like,
was one
but
scene
that
where
doesn't
Ozpin,
make any sense.
Like, it's a low angle of Ozpin, and his glasses are, like, shining, and it has very big, like, I'll take a chip and eat it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I can find it now because I've, like, skipped through a couple, but, like, it was pretty. Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Oh my god, look at this guy. Like, you know what I mean? It seems, oh, what a coincidence. Like, I thought that he was being hard on her for a minute. Like, I thought he was actually concerned because it's like, oh, you know, I'll always uphold justice, Blake. It seemed almost kind of a dig at her. Like, that he's, like, not completely sure if she's repented, I guess.
It's just like, hey, it's okay, I understand where you come back, but understand, like, I'm watching
if you do anything, I'm watching you. But I don't feel like Ozpin had I'm watching you energy. I feel like he believed in Blake.
The original
so
thing
they make Ozpin a bit more
judgmental,
and I don't know if I like
suspicious.
that.
Yeah, I feel like
I don't know if I like them making Ozpin more suspicious. I feel like that kind of makes him a kind of an asshole. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Because he seems, I don't know, it's hard to read him. Because he seems
if anything, I feel like he views, like, the White Fang is like a kind of, I don't know what you would call it, like a kind of minor nuisance compared to Salem.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But, like, he seems so happy, like, you know, if you want to talk to me, like, go ahead. But, like, in that scene, he's like, but that's such a coincidence, Blake. Like, you know, I don't know. It seems sort of weird. He seems like, on one hand, like, actually genuinely interrogating her, but then on the other hand, he's like, but don't hesitate to talk to me. So I'm getting mixed, like, signals from this Ozpin, whereas, like, in Volume 1, I always got the vibe that Ozpin he knew from the beginning who Blake was and was supportive. Whereas this Ozpin, I'm getting, like, he's kind of judgmental and not fully convinced that she's not part of the White Fang anymore or something. Like, I don't know. I feel like that they may have done him a little dirty, Just like a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But yeah. And so I like the conversation between Weiss and Blake here, though. Like, this is new, I think. Isn't it? I don't know. And so the professor may be open-minded. Was he? I didn't get that. I don't know.
Relatively. I mean, not a lot of professors like discuss how you insinuate that they might know that you used to be part of the terrorist
but you know what I mean? I was like, I don't know. I don't know about that. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I guess that's true, right? And I like them addressing this because in the show, like, they didn't necessarily, right? And so it makes sense when you have everything from the dream world. Yeah, I guess that's true. Like, I guess now he knows that there's a darker side to Blake, and maybe in canon he didn't know that. So maybe it's the continuity of the conversation. I think that's fair. That's fair enough. Osmond has some darkness too, though, so... who's he to judge? Right? And so I like this conversation between Weiss and Blake. I don't know why, but, like, I was like, oh, like, monochrome. Because they talk about, like, I need you to help me in the future, Blake. Like, Weiss says that to Blake. And so I thought that was really nice. Like, I have no intention of turning a blind eye towards the company, right? And so I like this. She's like, someday I'll help make the world a better place, and I need you. And so I was like, monochrome. Yay. Yay.
Monochrome.
So I thought that was nice. And so I thought this was a really sweet scene, and it made me happy. It just made the little monochrome in my heart a little, flutter a little bit, because I like that, because they never really talked about that. Like, they did, but, like, not like this, you know what I mean? Whereas I need you in the future to help me challenge my dad. I feel like that's kind of what monochrome is slightly, like, based off of, to an extent, is like...
No, fairness, Weiss will need Blake, or Blake will need Weiss in the future to help bring down the White Fang, to an extent.
Well, no. She wasn't there.
I guess she wasn't there.
Yang was there.
Yang was there.
That's a topic for the monochrome rewrite. Anyway, but yeah, and so I really like the scene where they're doing, like, the pancake thing. I like this conversation too between RWBY and Yang. I love this, like, very, again, like, the sisterly conversations we didn't really have in the show, I guess, because, like, stuff like this didn't get a lot of focus. But again, we're not going to go through literally everything because we... like, it's long. Like, every piece
really
of dialogue, and it's just fluff, right? Like, it's just a nice conversation.
And it was just like, I'm a badass,
I'm gonna keep making tons of friends and prove you wrong, and, like, all of that. And I think that was really nice.
And it's also her eating pancakes adorably.
Yeah, and I think that I love that.
Always valuable.
I just love, like, them having a conversation as, like, sisters, I guess, alone, too. Like, not with, I don't know, because I can't remember how many times that happened in Volume 1 and 2 and 3, to an extent. I don't know. I don't know if they ever addressed it again. Like, you know what I mean? Of RWBY becoming the leader and how she was faring and stuff. I don't know if Yang talked to her about that in private again. Like, I think that this is a new conversation, right? And so I love, like, them asking Sun, like, why are you always alone? But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because they didn't even need to, like, do this, and that's why I wonder if there's gonna be another season, because they set up that, like, Sun has friends and, like, his teammates are coming, but they didn't need to do that. Yeah. So it feels kind of not weird, but it's like they didn't need to do it.
Maybe they also want people to, like, you want to see what happens next.
Go watch RWBY, I guess. Yeah, it could be that too, but I'm getting the vibe that they're definitely on board with doing another season of this. It may just be, like, somehow different than the Nightmare.
Raven's
I don't
Nest.
know.
Or Empty Nest.
Empty Nest.
RWBY, Empty Nest.
Oh my god. But yeah, and so I like that this scene, like, of them all eating together. I just want, like, RWBY's slice of life, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, no,
I know, I mentioned that a couple times now, but I just love that.
Also, a bunch of cats just start appearing.
We have never seen an animal before. Like, can we just talk about that? Like, other than
maybe
like,
birds?
No, I don't even think birds.
No birds.
In the sky, but not up close.
I guess not.
Right? Like, other than Volume 9, how you have the rocking hummingbird thingy. You know what I mean? But I'm saying, like, actual animals. Right? Like, there are actual animals, and I think that's just kind of funny, right? So, yeah, I just like that they're, like, again, their conversation, right? Like, oh, they're kind of blackmailing each other. I think this is funny. Like, even if she asks me not to tell, I won't tell my friends, but he does. He definitely tells his friends, so, like, come on, Sun. Oh, no. But, yeah, I feel
like, did Sun mean to, or did he just, he's a little bit of a himbo. I feel like he would have just come out accidentally.
It's weird for me to say this, but they're all hotties. So that was a very bisexual of you, Sun.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Sun Wukong.
Yeah. And so I'm sort of wondering wondering, like, I feel like that this may be set up for something, I guess. And I like how Yang, I wonder if she's being sarcastic. Like,
she doesn't look like, she doesn't look titillated. She's more just like, ooh, more friends.
I don't know. I wonder if she's, like, being sarcastic about them being hot or something. I don't know. Because she's like, oh, well, I wonder about that, you know? Like, Weiss doesn't seem convinced. I don't know. I feel like that it would have been funny if Yang looked a bit more not convinced. Because I'm pretty sure we know that Yang is pretty gay. Like, you know what I mean? And so, I don't know. But she's probably just excited to see. She's probably saying it like, oh, yeah, I'd love to see that. Like, you know what I mean? I'd love to see if your friends are as you say they are, considering how you are,
maybe
son.
maybe in the vocal delivery it was more like, ooh, how exciting. But I don't quite remember it like that.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, more like, sure, son. Okay. Like, you think you're hot stuff, but, like, if you think they're hot, I'm worried for them. Like, I think that maybe it could be like that a little bit. Oh, man. But, yeah, I really like that they actually, like, cut to Jean's, like, training as well. Like, I think that was interesting, and I like, oh, well, Weiss really wants to be with Pyrrha, and they joke about, like, training her. I thought that was so funny. I thought that this was just, again, a very nice conversation, right?
We won't let you back in.
Exactly. So you have to stay with us right now.
Since when was I trying to leave the team? I just like that kind of, like, that very, like...
Let's show them this. I think this is worth it. Like, look at this. Hold on, we have to go to RWBY.
Serious?
1, 2,
serious?
3.
Oh, looks like she's like, oh, they're in love and they don't know it yet.
Oh man, but then they all laugh, and I think that that's so nice. And like, you know, I think that Blake is interesting because she's just like, yeah, I've spent a lot of time alone. I'm not used to it yet. Yeah. That actually, who says that?
And there's more cats now. There's like a calico cat, and then there's like a black cat, and then there's like a striped cat.
Okay, this is random. But that's something that Fox says as well. Like that he hasn't really had friends before, so he has to get used to it. You know, just random. I'm not saying to ship Blake and Fox or anything.
I know,
I'm just saying
it's just that
it's an interesting like commonality.
We will see a fox in the wild and he'll be like from RWBY.
Oh my god, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, they also just exist.
It's kind of interesting.
Cal.
Right, but like it's interesting. She says the same thing,
sure.
like sort of, that she's never had friends before, so she doesn't really know how to act. I think that's just nice. I like this. I like the little selfie. This transition too is great because Nora's looking at the selfie on her phone. Like that was just great. You know? But yeah, Jean's trading again. I don't think that we have to go too deeply into it. I think it was nice to see though, because it's kind of how everyone's like shaping up, you know, after like this situation, I guess. Like someday my semblance will evolve. Nice foreshadowing. I like this little conversation between Ren and Nora. I thought was really good. I love like sometimes I want to go out and play with Team RWBY. I thought that was like adorable. I just thought that was really cute. And like, why don't we suggest that to Jean? Because they haven't really become friends yet, right? Volume 2 is when I would say that they start like becoming really friends, right? And so I think that that's nice, like, continuity. And I like this. I like this about Jean as well. Yeah, Renora Crumbs. Like, perhaps, like, he's so weak, but he says that he's going to protect us. Perhaps that's his greatest strength, right? Because I think that this is true, too. Like, back in Volume 1, we didn't really get to see... I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen Volume 1, so I'm sorry if I'm wrong. We didn't get to see how Ren and Nora felt about Jean as much.
Yeah.
By Volume 2, we saw Jean going to Ren for advice. And we saw Nora knowing that, like, Pyrrha had a crush on Jean. But we didn't actually know how they felt about him at first. And so I think that, like, in hindsight, I was like, oh, man, why is Nora being so mean to Jean? But it's just an element we never saw of her before. I think that this is us seeing how she really felt about Jean at the beginning. You know what I mean? But we just never saw that because it was never brought up. And so I think that that's actually kind of an interesting aspect of Nora's character, that maybe she wasn't sold on Jean at first.
Perhaps.
She's like, you know, we've been out in the fucking wilderness, Ren, and we're stronger than this guy. Like, we unlocked our fucking semblances. Like, what's his excuse, right? I think that that's an interesting thing to, like, bring up, is that, like, I don't know. At first I was like, damn, Nora's going hard on Jean. But then I thought back and I was like, well, we never really knew if Nora liked Jean at this point. We just didn't really see it, right? So I think it's interesting to see things as they are now, that maybe Nora was not, like, sold on it, right? Like, and she's like, you know, I don't know, like, she's glad that Ren's on her team and that they're still together. We didn't. They just felt like Jean and Pyrrha were having issues. Yeah, and so I think that that's good. You know, I think that that's good that they're actually showing kind of a more of a depth to, like, Nora maybe not being entirely sold on Jean, but then, like, when Jean and Pyrrha start to have issues and Jean is distant, then they actually get involved, like, you
Yes.
know, and I think that's interesting. And I like our little, you know, Renora crumbs. It feels like, again, I feel like this episode was needed as a resolution. I understand why, again, some people may not like it, but I think it was definitely needed. I would feel like that the show would be kind of empty if they just ended it after Weiss got saved. You know, it needs like that sort of check-in with everyone, what they've learned and the things that they did, right?
I did also just like this scene of like Yang being nosy and like, you writing fan fiction? You writing something?
Yeah, or something like that. It seems like, because I don't understand, you were writing something, like, what you read? Like, I don't know if she meant, like, a review of the book.
While you read.
Or, like, oh, man, this character's so hot. Like, I don't know, like, is Blake, like, a secret video essay YouTuber? Like, I don't know if they meant fan fiction, but I just thought that was, like, a cute interaction, right? Like, will you let me read it later? Like, was it her thoughts on the book? Was it the fanfic? Like, I don't know. We won't know. But yeah, I think it may be fan fiction, basically,
I'm
or
very
something.
Pro the idea of what Yang thinks Blake is writing something
fan fiction
nefarious.
or something. Yeah, and so I thought that this was cute.
And then from this point on, it's just like a shot, not a shot for shot, but basically a remake of
the food fight.
The food fight scene from the first episode of season 2 of RWBY.
Yeah, and I thought that this was really good. I like this scene and like this. I'll show you guys this part anyway because we're almost done. I like this, like the little eye animation. I love like Ruby's like. Weiss, as she says, yeah, chomp. I love that. Like,
Wait, I missed
eating
the
the grape. No, it was before Yang like chomping on the grape.
I missed that. Yeah, or I caught that. Yeah.
But yeah, and so I just really like this. I like the remake of the scene. This just like okay.
It's obviously like fan service, but I like it, so I don't care.
And we'll probably talk about this in a different video because, like I said, our voice hurts. It's almost 6 o'clock. Hunter has to go home to her family at some point, right? But like, this show. As much as I did sort of enjoy Ice Queendom, all it made me wanted was a RWBY remake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All I kind of want is a RWBY remake now. Because I feel like they're so good at it. And like, I feel like that it's also, not to say that it's any easier, but it seems
Some
natural.
of the translations are a little weird. So for example, like in the original, RWBY goes like, I'm not a crook, when Weiss asks if she stole her day planner.
Right,
and she doesn't say that. It's my super ultra, but she still does the little fingers, and you can see her doing the fingers right now.
But, I mean, I don't know. I think
Which is a very specific reference, and there's also the Yang Bang pun that
But
Yang
I think
makes.
that's a better dialogue, because, like...
Yeah, well, I think it was weird to do the Richard Nixon thing, but it is just, like, I wonder, like, how these... And, like, those stop occurring after Volume 2.
Yeah.
I don't know, I wonder, like...
But
what other weird translation things are going to show up?
But the thing is, like, that was never... Here's my problem with that sort of thing, right? If you have a character like Genie from Aladdin making real fourth wall breaking references, that's one thing. But,
he's
like,
a comedy character, it's fine.
thing is that, like, that's not something in character for RWBY to say. That's a joke that the writers thought was funny and that they would say. Which, that's why I think it's fine.
In universe, either that there's, like, a Richard Nixon equivalent...
Oh my god.
Like, Richard Nixon exists somewhere. His name would be, like, Dick Nickel.
Oh my god, because it has to have a color name or something.
So anyways, Dick Nickel was a famous Valian politician who, like, embezzled and extended a war, but not in Vietnam, and, like, in Vacuo, starts with a V, you know? And then he got thrown out after spying on his campaign offices of his opponent. Okay. And so that's who she's referencing. Or RWBY just does that, and it's like, she just thinks she's being weird and quirky, and it doesn't even
okay, I guess...
exist.
This is what I'm saying.
Bruce Willis was also weird.
This is what I'm saying. I think that the quotes like that are fine. If there's something that the character would naturally say that just happens to be something that someone else has said in real life and you think it's a funny connection, if that makes sense. But, like, I think that, like, RWBY wouldn't say that. Like, it makes more sense for her to be like, I didn't steal your binder, I just added, like, our fun plan to your binder. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's more innocent. Her saying, like, I'm not a crook admits the fact that what she did may have been seen as stealing in the first place. Yeah. Right? You know what I mean? So, like, I think that this just makes more sense because, does that make sense to you? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, I understand why they did. But
no,
the reason
Hunter,
why they
like, I
did it
didn't
was
steal
weird.
your bath bomb or something. Like, for for you to insist you didn't steal something, you have to acknowledge there was the possibility that your action could be seen as stealing, where, like, RWBY is so innocent about it that she just sees it as, oh, but I just borrowed your binder. It's our team binder. You know what I mean? Like, it's not your binder. It's our binder.
So it makes sense. I'm glad that they changed it, but I just realized that, like, you're right. It is weird that they do that in the first place, and I wonder if there'd be any other, like, weird translation.
I mean, I think it's just the writers trying to be funny.
Because, like, would the yang bang thing make sense to a Japanese audience?
Well,
would that kind of work in Japanese?
Well, I think too. Okay, well, here's the thing about that. I was watching Shadow's House.
I love how everyone reacts differently. Like, RWBY's just like, how could you have done this to me? You've ruined my entire life.
Yeah,
like just kind of shocked.
She's like, Nora, what the fuck? But okay. So here's the thing. With the Yang Bang situation, for some reason, so I was watching Shadow's House, and in Shadow's House, like, I don't remember what it was, but, like, one of the characters was like, and that's okay, or something like that, and they said it in English, like, not in Japanese, and they said it twice, and I was like, what is going on? Like, why is he saying that? Or it was like, nice plan, or like, nice strategy. It was something like that. Like, it was words that are English words. Like, it's not just like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not yes or no or something that people would know, like strategy or plan. Like, that's a very specific, like, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, I think that the Yang Bang thing, I think that bang is probably common enough in anime. Automatopoeia? Yeah, automatopoeia thing. Whereas, like, that Shadow House thing, like, that was just so random to me. And they were like, and that's a good plan. Like, I just thought that was so random. You know what I mean? I was like, John, what are you doing? But yeah, I thought it was, I don't know, I just thought it was funny. It was cute. Like, in Shadow's House, it was cute, but it just surprised me. So I think that I say all of that to address what Hunter is saying. I think the bang thing, they would, like, it would be understandable joke. But yeah, that's my problem with some of Volume 1's humor, is it's not like that the characters are being funny, it's that the writers are making the characters say things that are funny if you were a stand-up comedian. Yeah, and I think that that's
doesn't
like...
land, I don't think. Yeah. Like the referential humor, I feel like.
Yeah, like, that's what it is, I guess, referential humor, right?
I'm not a big fan of that, generally speaking.
Yeah, but I love this. I love, like, you know, like, the cafeteria
I also
thing.
like how, like, unhinged she
looks. I know, she looks so
like,
scary at first.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. And, so
Very Future Diaries.
Apparently the food fight's a tradition, which I don't remember that originally, but I guess...
No, that was added for this.
It was like, oh, like, the thing that Dad told us about? And I'm like, was that canon? I kind of like it. I'll take it as canon. And I love it.
And then they just start fighting, and the animation is gorgeous.
You know what we should do then? Okay? Remind me. Somebody, if this is truly
it's not a shot for shot.
If this is truly a tradition at Beacon, not a shot for shot. If this is a tradition at Beacon that characters, like, know about and that's canon now, what we should do is somebody should draw art of Team Coffee having their food fight with whoever they would have had their food fight with. I think that would be fun. You can't
avoid.
What do you mean?
Team Coffee has not showed up once. I know, but they have not shown up once. I want to make a collection. I want to make a video.
If it's a tradition.
I want to make a video of every time you've referenced Team Coffee in a show that has zero Team Coffee in it.
What I'm saying is they make a point to say that it was a tradition that Team Stark probably started, which means that possibly, because Team Coffee is a year above Team RWBY and Friends, okay? That Team Coffee would technically, all I'm saying is that they would technically have had a food fight in their generation of their year.
Potentially.
People on the internet probably, you know, maybe Allie, I don't know, just throwing it out there, or Straduck, or someone that likes Team Coffee, can draw a little art of Team Coffee having a food fight with someone. I don't know. Well, Team Cardinal wasn't there yet.
Yeah, Cardinal's in.
We don't know any other second years, so we're gonna have to make somebody up or something. Maybe it was against, like, Good Witch and Osmond. That would be fun. Against the teachers. I don't know. I'm just saying.
They splattered Good Witch once by accident.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That'd be fun. And so I'm just saying.
The fight scene was a lot of fun. Yeah. Some of it was like shot for shot, not shot for shot, but some of it was like, you can tell it was kind of like inspired by it, but it wasn't a shot for shot.
I love the kids running away. So, okay, I'm gonna plug this really quick. Okay, Cal's trying to get a free food fight commission? No! I'm just saying, if they like the idea, they can draw it. You know, I don't need credit for the idea that if they like it, they can draw it. You know what I mean? Because some people get a little, like, concerned about that. They're like, oh, well, Cal said that on the stream, and Cal can draw, so I don't want to draw it because what if Cal's going to draw it herself? You know what I mean? I'm just saying that I'm not going to draw it, so it's free real estate, right? You know what I mean? But yeah, I love the kids, like, running out of the cafeteria because I follow this Twitter account. And I don't know what exactly it's called, but it's like RWBY characters on Twitter. Like, that is the concept. Yes. And they did this, like, beacon confession post. And, like, I just imagine, like, there's this beacon confession Twitter account. And these students are like, I fucking hate Team RWBY, okay? Why does Team RWBY get all this special treatment? And, like, why do they do this and do that? Like, I could imagine these kids. You know what I mean? Like, they are posting to the Beacon Academy. Like, confession page, like, fuck Team RWBY. Like, they ruined my fucking baguette. Do you know how much I was looking forward?
My stiff-ass baguette.
Okay? Like, Wednesday, they finally had, what is that? They finally had a swordfish in the cafeteria, and you know what they fucking used it for? A food fight, okay? I'm on my last thing of ramen in my dorm, and these kids are using our food. You know what I mean? It's tough out here for these background characters, I'm just saying. Yeah. Right? That'd be so funny, too. It's like, it's what day, like pizza day? Or what day did people love? Like when the college cafeteria had it. Probably pizza, right? Or like pasta or something. That's what I sort of imagine. Or like hamburgers or something. Sure. Like, you know what I mean? It's like somebody's cherished a hamburger day, or all they wanted was their like rice and tomato soup or something from the cafeteria. Like, it's rice and tomato soup Wednesday, and Team RWBY's fucking ruining it. So yeah, that's my little thing about the vegan confession. So yeah, I just love this scene again. We're not gonna show like absolutely everything, but I thought some of the shots were really, really good. Like, you have like Nora like literally like punching a bunch of
I love how they redo a bunch of it, like so Yang's punching with the turkeys.
Yeah, like this was really, really good.
Kira and Blake are fighting with the like super stiff loaves of bread.
Yeah. Hold on, we'll get that shot too.
Oh my God.
Love John just getting
his ass
hit
kicked.
in the face was really funny. Yeah, let's show that shot of Kira and Blake because I think
gorgeous.
It's like gorgeous.
I would love to show someone this scene out of context
and like, what do you think this show is about?
What RWBY is about.
Is that Food Wars? I've heard so much about this show, Food Wars. Oh man, Celery Tuesday. Yeah, I don't know about the celery, but yeah, I love this. I love like, you know, Ren like Ren. Oh my God! Like, look at this. Like, look, he's literally doing the splits. Like, holy fuck! You know, okay, this is gonna be like kind of funny. Does Ren not look like a Code Geass character?
Oh my God! Yeah, he's very spindly and long.
Like, long. I don't know. Like, he's very like thin. But yeah, like, I feel like that the anime and the 2D style does such a, I don't want to say better because I know people get like a little offended, but like it does such a good job like of capturing the movement and their speed and like the reactions and how like impact actually happens to that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Jean's skin curling around his face, you would never see that in main RWBY because they can't do that because, again, they're like Barbie dolls, basically. They're basically Barbie dolls. That's what they are, right? So there's just so much more potential.
I also love that brief shot of like the cloud of dust, and then you just see like...
See, look at this! It was somebody's pizza day! Look at that! Somebody had to abandon their pizza
waste of food.
Because of Team fucking
RWBY.
Big
look burger. At this! Oh my goodness, that's huge.
Oh wait, they can't see it. Hold on, let me put it back. Look at this! It was somebody's pizza day! Can y'all believe this? What the fuck is that? These poor people that just happen to go to school. It's like, again, those like Harry Potter memes where it's like the students that went to school with Harry Potter but weren't part of the main plot were just fucking sick of his ass. You know what I mean? That's how I sort of feel. And I love this conversation between Salem and Ozpin. And like, that's fucked up. Like, look at this. They're like foreshadowing Pyrrha dying again, right? Darkness will return. Some fucked up stuff happens to Yang and Ren, you know, and John in the darkness. Stay vigilant, Guardians of Light, but take heed. So I really just like how they panned to everyone. I thought that was really, really cool. You know, I love RWBY and like this scene with her, like how, you know, her in the cans, I guess. But yeah, they do such a good job of like, you know, again, like showing off her speed and stuff. It's so much more like different capabilities than I guess the 3D ever had.
And then they blow up the soda can and then it aerosolizes and everyone...
Like, you would never see this in the main show. And I think that this is just beautiful.
I feel like you could do that.
You could, I guess. Animation. But do you guys know what I mean? And that isn't a a knock on the main show or anything, but it's just like, I look at this and this is what makes me want a full remake, like, of the show. And like, not even a remake, like, one for one, but like extended too, where you get more stuff with Juniper, you get more stuff with Salem and Emerald and Mercury sneaking into the school, like, just extended and then also a remake at the same time. Because, like, look at this. This is, like, so pretty. And, like, it makes me sad to think we're never going to see something like this again. We need more like this.
Unless they, you know, do another season. Also, imagine how sticky you'd be after having all that, like...
Well, you know, they can shower. It's okay. But yeah,
also, like yeah, that's... You can put that as your laptop background.
I'm so depressed that we're never going to see something like this again. That's why I want it, and I love the conversation with Salem and Ozpin, and like it fits with Ice Queendom so well, and I love this shot of them at the end, and that's the end, and so I just want more, man. And like Hunter and I, again, we'll do an individual video about that, just because like, we gotta go, bitch. Like, you know, we've been here too long. My throat fucking hurts, like, but... Right? Like, even though Ice Queendom wasn't perfect, it showed me a lot of, like, potential in terms of, like, what RWBY could be if it had, like, budget at the very beginning of the show in terms of those extended moments and extended runtime. Like, especially, again, those little conversations with Juniper. The conversation with Nora and Ren in this episode. Like, extended, like, Jean and Pyrrha training situation. Like, all of those sorts of things. Yes, I thought the Monty quote at the end was great. I did not capture a screenshot of it, but I thought that was very, like, meaningful.
I didn't expect it, but I really liked it.
Yeah, and I thought that was nice. Like, a little, like, you know, a little nod or, like, homage, right? Because, like, you know, like, they talk about this a lot. Like, Monty would have, like, fucked with this. Like, he would have absolutely been, like, over the moon at this, right? Oh, yeah, I didn't take a picture of the Ein Lee art either, but it's on Twitter. I retweeted it if you guys want to go see the I mean, if you guys watched the episode, you've seen it. It was the end card for the episode, too. But, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, it just, I want more of this, you know? And I hope, like, even though Ice Queendom wasn't perfect, I hope that we get something else like this in the future. Because I think that it just has so much potential. And again, that isn't a knock on the main show, but it's just different animation styles.
Because I quite enjoyed this, so I would have had fun. Yeah, like, let's get weird. Let's do a claymation RWBY show.
Well, different animation styles just lend itself differently, right? And so there's so much, like, there's just, it's a new way to experience the fight scenes that we already liked. And there's just so much more detail that they're able to incorporate.
A machinima RWBY show.
Yeah, it's definitely a love letter, right? And so I think that despite, like, episode 10 was probably the worst offender, was episode 10 of certain things. But I think despite that, like, I really hope that it does well because I really want more of this. I want something else like this. Whether that's, again, partial remake and partially new shit, you know what I mean? Like, RWBY sort of extended cut and stuff. Let Hunter go home. She hasn't seen her wife or kids in weeks.
I'd be concerned if I had a wife and kids. Like, where did they come from?
So we'll talk about that probably in another video of, like, because this thing exists, what do we hope for next time, basically? We'll probably, like, what would Yang Ice Queendom look like? And, like, what would we want, like, in terms of, like, other 2D animated RWBY spin-off situations? We'd probably do a separate video about that specifically. But otherwise, I think we're pretty much good. Again, the patron reactions will be up soon. It just may take a bit because I have school and stuff, and I still have to edit them. Like, I still have to put them in the editor and get them rendered and stuff like that. So, yeah. So if you guys enjoyed, remember, go check out the Patreon to see our reactions and stuff. That's the best way to support us as well. All of that fun stuff for killing our voice for these reactions.
We kill our voice for you.
For you. And so, yeah, we'd appreciate your Patreon support, all that fun stuff. But otherwise, I think we're pretty much done here. So I hope that you guys enjoyed all our little live stream discussions. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Like, the turnout is a lot better than I expected. You know what I mean? Like, consider we've held the line of, like, 30 people each week, which I think is pretty impressive considering that this is, like, off RWBY season content, you know? And so I'm just really glad, and we've been so inconsistent, so, you know, I appreciate the fact that everyone's still been around.
Sometimes.
But occasionally. We will see you guys later. Bye!